just so I'll decide later if I keep it or I don't. All right, Marvin, Systems with Selina came about because, well, let me see. I'm trying to remember how we started it. Debbie, how did I start it? Oh, I know why. I taught AMP.
I was going to say from AMP or RAMP.
Yeah, it came from AMP. So, Marvin, I'm a master coach with Workman Success Systems, and I work directly. I'm a business partner of Rick Jiha,
Okay.
whose upline you're probably part of.
I am. Yeah.
And so we teach Workman Success Systems fairly regularly. We teach RAMP and AMP and BAM and SLAM, which are systems that are designed to help people be more productive in real estate. And it was the first time that we taught AMP, which was Administrative Mastery Program, which was all about teaching an agent to work on their systems and processes. And as a result of that, several people who were in the class said, wow, I wish we could kind of do this more often because we don't really talk about systems that help us do better in real estate.
Right.
And so I said, well, why don't we do this more often?
Right.
So I started doing this twice a month, which just gave us a place to go to talk about all of the systems and processes that we do in real estate a little bit more often, not just about production, but it does come up quite a bit. So it's an open forum for that. Debbie's usually my tried and true on here because she does love systems and processes as much as I do. So it's for that. Tell me a little bit about you, Marvin.
Well, real estate agent based out of Atlanta, Georgia. Been licensed for coming up on 4 years now. Several million in production each year. I'm not an icon yet, but I run a small team of about 7 agents, with 2 that are downline agents, but they're local, so they're part of my team as well. Nice. And right now, I actually just got off of 2 of my weekly one-on-one calls with them just to see what's going on in their business, how I can, lend value, so on and so forth. And I'm very tech focused, so I definitely am excited to learn more about systems as far as what your background is in, and how I can get better as a team lead, as an agent, and everything in between.
Love that. Love that. I spent 13 years. I lived 13 years in Atlanta.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Where are you based out of now? I saw Debbie's in California, but
I'm in Carmel, California.
Oh, California as well. Okay. Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. Who's your upline? Who's your sponsor?
Will Higgins is my direct sponsor.
Yeah. I talked to him earlier this week. So I love systems and processes. It's sort of my love language. Anything that creates efficiency in what we do. And so I help Rick Jiha with his sales team here. I've run a very large sales team in New York. Prior to that, we had 16 agents and 5 staff members. Closing 150 transactions a year and about 90 million in volume. And it was systems and processes that kept us going when we were doing that. So a lot of times we talk about KV Core here. We talk about just different ways that we kind of keep things running, right? A lot of different things. So pretty open about that. I didn't come with anything in particular to talk about today, except for that we just got off the Free Friday coaching call with Rick and Paul Sessom, who is another master coach with Workman. And he sort of incentivized me, and I've been focused all week on kind of mapping out the remainder of the year. And I know Debbie was on that call, and Paul mentioned that we have 122 days left in the year, 17 weeks. And puts it in perspective, right? I kept looking at it as 4 months, and I don't know, when you say 122 days, it just feels a little more impactful.
Yeah, for sure.
And so the other day I had taken, it's going to seem old school because I live by my calendar, but I had taken and printed out things like calendars for the remainder of the year.
Nice.
And it seems really old school, but I take it with a pencil because over the next 3 days, everybody else is probably sitting and relaxing. And instead I'm sitting here going like, what am I going to do over the next 3 days of planning out the remainder of the year? And I sit down with my little mechanical pencil, and it seems, like I said, old school, but I start systematizing in my mind, what can I do over these last 120 days to truly make an impact? in the business from two perspectives, right? Because with Rick, I'm helping him on agent attraction and on production inside of the business, right? So something to think about if you're looking to do the same thing, right? We're way behind on the team production because we stopped focusing on that this year. We moved into agent attraction at a high level. We also released almost the entire team.
Oh wow. Okay.
We like cracked down.
Okay. You got to do that. You got to separate the wheat from the chaff, as they say.
You weren't in it to win it. We weren't in it for you either. However, in the last 10 days, I've hired 3 new agents.
Yeah, I was just going to say addition from subtraction. Addition from subtraction.
Yep. So 3 new people have joined in the last 10 days. I got real serious about who was coming in, right? Yeah. So when you get real focused on that, so then that's what I'm doing. So I don't know if that's something that you guys do as well. Do you sit down with a calendar like this and you think, all right, I got 122 days left. What am I going to do with it?
No, I did want to kind of say a little bit about how I do my attraction efforts and marketing efforts, and I do want to kind of see, are these calls, or is it like a set time that I can kind of tell you what's going on, and is there a cost? I just want to make sure before I get into.
Nope, you can do whatever you want. Like sometimes I come with something, and sometimes it's completely open for them. So
so agent attraction has been a big piece that I've tried to lean on. I systematized it in the sense that if I get let's say, for example, a business card at the store, from an agent, I'll plug them into my KV core. I have a drip campaign that I created with a series of text and email touches. I haven't gotten very good response from it, but I'll be honest, I'm not, my comfort level isn't to the point to where I'm interested. And please forgive me for how I sound. I'm just coming off my 4th bout of COVID, or 5th. So I feel like an Avenger at this point because I've had it so many times. But
I don't know if it's the microphone or if this is how you normally talk, but you sound like you should be a radio personality.
Yeah. I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that. it's the mic and a little bit of my voice, but if I have to just stop and breathe and get water, it's just because I'm still flushing it out. So I know that a lot of agent attraction has to do with reaching out to agents, value prop, seeing where they are in their business. So I've tried to kind of marry the two between having a system do that for me, and then the ones that are interested, I get on a Zoom call once they've gone through the touches and all that. But I'm also getting a lot of unsubscribes and all that stuff because I hadn't actually reached out directly before I got them on that campaign. So I'd like to see if you have any insight on systematizing, but then still creating that human effort from a comfort level standpoint.
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, when I compare the difference between someone utilizing a system primarily for touches versus someone building the relationship, you're going to get a much bigger return on investment on the actual you building the relationship versus the automated touch. Rick's wife, Casey, is the most sought after attraction coach in EXP. Like the most. And every time that I talk about systematizing something, she just shuts me down. Like she's like, stop it. Immediately, because she knows. And she's like, Selina, if you now what we will do is if it was someone that we did try the touches for a long time, and like I've got a bunch of old folks that like Rick tried, and then we just like nothing ever happened. I am working on putting those people on some sort of a long-term drip in the sense that we invite them to events that we are holding. Because we tried, we lost them. Like he reached out, they sort of ghosted us. We will do that after we've tried that human interaction for quite some period of time. At any given time, Rick's talking to about 200 people verbally. The man is like constant. So I'm like all the time talking. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how the man talks to that many people. But I won't put them on any kind of a drip until after he has like done all of that. And that's only in the sense of like inviting them to something, right? Just because your return on investment is going to be so much better. And I don't know, I mean, I'm in the process right now this is going to sound, I mean, I'm in the midst of doing it, but like developing a TikTok campaign. I see it working for people in the sense of how do I go find more, this can sound crazy, but strangers, like people we aren't in touch with at the moment, right? And it's like, how do I get more people to know who we are? How do I get that out there? And I definitely see other people out there doing it. And I said to Rick, I'm like, he's got I mean, the man knows everybody, don't get me wrong, but it's like, I need the reach to go further. Right. So that's part of what I've got this calendar out there for is I've gone and I know that Debbie and I've talked about this previously, like we have so much content. So a lot of people focus on like, how do I get enough content? And I'm like, we've got content coming out my ears because we do so many of these things, right? We were constantly on Zoom and I'm using Opus AI to now.
Yeah, I love Opus.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's incredible. Because Rick was like, when do I have time to record stuff? I'm like, I don't need you to record anything. I've got like 9,000 hours of us on recording, like, and I'm breaking it into content now. So when I started doing this, I have like several versions of the calendar. I'm now building that, taking that content and taking those clips, and I want to put that out there on TikTok. And like, how do I get him out there, drawing in the people who don't already know us, right? And utilizing that for agent attraction and saying, let me get those people in front of Rick. It's spaghetti on the wall.
Right.
Okay. It's the same thing I say to people who are trying to get listings or buyers that way.
Right.
But can I get more people pulled in? Okay. So, and then get them into, now some people say, oh, well, I want to get them to my YouTube. No. You need to get them into scheduling an appointment with you. You've got to get them to like a Calendly link. Get them to something to say, I want to talk to you. I want to have a conversation with you. So you have to systematize it in that sense. Like if they're coming in through your TikTok and they get to a link, that link has got to be, how do they get to you as soon as possible? How do they get on your calendar? So there does have to be a system involved in that. Like you want them to be able to get to you as soon as possible. Like we have a whole agent attraction website, Marvin. Like if you go to empirebuilders.pro, Rick's wife, Casey, built that whole website about 2 years ago. And it's got all the information about the benefits of joining EXP, and not just EXP, but our organization, right? It's like giving them all of the information that they could possibly need. But I said to Casey, the problem is it still doesn't say, click here to call me.
Call to action.
Right. I said to her the other day, I said, that's what's missing. It does have like schedule a third party validation call, but they don't know what that is. I was like, we still need something like, hey, you want to know more? Call me. Schedule a call with me. So you got to like systematize it even more. We got to make it easy. They hear something they like. How do we systematize it even more? Like click here and get on my calendar. Right. So like, that's what I'm focusing on right now is like, how do we make it so easy that if we said something that they connected with and we put something out there, how do they get in touch with us faster? Yep.
That's a good idea.
So it's, I know that, sorry, I'm still getting, like, my phone has been ringing off the hook all week long. I don't know what's up with everybody this week.
All good.
So think about, even from agent attraction, think about it from listing, think about whatever that is. It was really impactful for me to listen to Paul this morning, is like, what can we do with the next, and Debbie, I saw it was really connecting with you today. 122 days is a lot of time. At first I was like, it's not a lot of time. And then I was like, that's actually a lot of time. Okay. So if you took it, because I was looking at it and I was like, if I scheduled out 122 days of what can I do to increase listings for the team? What can I do inside? Like we have 5,000 leads inside of our KV core right now. Last week I got really depressed. Let me tell you why. Because I was trying to develop a pond for Rick's son to call. He's new in the business. We're just teaching him how to do it. And I was like all excited. I was like, oh, I'm going to create a pond for him to call. I'm going to go into our KV core and I'm going to just like find the most active people in KV core so I can build a pond for him to call. Like I was thinking, 200 leads. Guys, I wanted to like stab my eyeballs out. I went in and ran a filter And I was like, I'm going to choose the most active buyers for the last 60 days and build a pond. So I chose 60 days. Who had favorited something in the last 60 days? Guys, there are 5,000 leads in there. You want to guess how many came up?
How many?
6.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I called Rick and I was like, we got a problem.
Okay. And
he's like, what? And I said, 6 people out of 5,000 have favorited. He goes, what does that mean? Rick doesn't use KV Core. So I said, that means we have no engagement inside of our KV Core.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he goes, why is that? And I said, because none of our agents have previously done anything in KV Core. Nobody set up on property alerts. Nobody was on drip campaigns. Nobody was utilizing it in any way, shape, or form. So we have 5,000 leads that never had anybody engaging with them. So they just dropped and stopped using it.
Okay.
So he's like, what do we do? And I said, well, I got to figure out like how to get re-engagement. Like, how do I start everybody over again? What do I send out there to get them like back into it? Or have we lost them all? Are they all gone? Do I start over from scratch?
Right.
Go ahead, Debbie. You want to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you had even prompted me to do something a few months back, and it was an email blast. And if you've got, for everybody who has an email, send something with like a subject line that's going to be super eye-catching, like, you know, kind of give you that, oh, what is that? You know, the shock of it all. Like, did you know that peanut butter really doesn't go with jelly?
Yeah.
Or, you know, I mean, something that's going to make
blasphemy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like something's going to make people like, wait, what? No. And that's going to be that shock factor, but I mean, real estate related maybe. Yeah. And then have the email be something that's of value. Obviously, you know, that part of value that's going to like maybe discuss something about the market right now. And hey, if you want to stay up to date on the market, you know, whatever. I have put everybody in just about everybody in my KV Core, I've put them on a market report.
Okay.
And I have them in a market report. And if I'm not sure where they're going, like some of them are cold leads that I got through a lead generation company that I contacted at first, but I haven't reached out to them in probably 2 years.
Okay.
So what I've done with them is I'll take about 10 or 15 at a time and I'll put them on a market report because I don't want it to be spammy.
Right.
Yeah, like I don't want it to be considered spam. You can only do so many at a time before you get blocked. So I do about 10 or 15 at a time and I'll put them on or groups of people on market reports. I've even uploaded farms and gotten contact information from farms and put them on market reports. Okay. What I recently did was got some people from a likely to list.
Okay.
And I sent them all something in the mail. I've put them on the ones that I have emails for. I put them on market reports. Okay. And then now I'm doing a CMA challenge with another girl in my organization. Her and I are doing 5 CMAs a day. So 25 a week, whatever that is for the week. Like today, since today's the 1st, we're only doing 5 today, but next week we have to do 25. If you do all 25 in one day and you're good, then fine. But 25 a week for the next 30 days for the month of September. Okay. And that should give us some kind of production. That should give us some kind of activity. And it's touches. You can even do it to past clients that maybe moved before the pandemic that are like, you know what, we've grown out of our house. We have another kid, or, you know, my mother-in-law moved in with us because she's not doing well and we've got to take care of her. You know, whatever family situations, work situations come up, people have it happens. And COVID changed so much of how we live with one another. Right. You know, whether it be adding people in or kicking people out, you know, it's one way or the other. That dynamic has really changed. I just went into escrow on a property. There's 11 people living in this one house. Wow. And they're all family. It's the parents with like 4 adult children and their spouses and their children.
Wow.
Okay. Thankfully, it's like a huge house. It's like I think they've turned it into like an 8-bedroom, 5-bath, but It's
it came out of necessity, right? It came out of
3 years old and they're selling because the parents are like, okay, enough.
Yeah.
They're moving to Vegas. The
Get
kids
out.
gotta just go.
Yeah. That's
Time
funny.
to spread your wings, kids. And now that you have kids, you got to figure this stuff out,
Right.
And so people need to move for all different kinds of reasons. And I think my word for this year is consistency. Now I haven't followed it, but that consistent contact. And I was thinking about what you said, Marvin, about putting them on for agent attraction, putting on like a campaign in your KV core. Right. Maybe instead of it being a campaign where it's an automated message to them, whether it be text or email, maybe it's a campaign that's set up for you where it's, okay, we're at day 10 of this relationship with, agent A. And at day 10, this is going to be the phone call topic. Yeah. And it's going to be like, what's going on in your world? What's working in your business? What's not working in your business? And it's a prompt more so for you to make that personal touch versus the touch being automated to them. Right. So maybe use that same subject matter that's in your campaign. Okay. Like if the correspondence for that particular day is to, is about, what's going on in your market if they're not in your area. Right. Make the phone call instead of doing the touch to them. So kind of follow that and make it the phone call instead of the automated touch. And then, maybe you do that at first and then set them up on something else that, like Selina said, after so much time, if they're still not engaging with you about it or not willing to like participate in some of these type calls or come to an event with you, or, if you have an in-office group there in Atlanta where you guys meet up once a week or, whatever, or a happy hour once a week for your organization, whatever you guys do. If they're not willing to participate in those things, then maybe come up with something a little more automated to kind of keep them in touch. But those first several touches, it's just like clients. They got to know, like, and trust you in order to move their brokerage. A lot of people.
Yeah.
It's the same concept because it's a big move because you're going through the expensive signs. You're paying the fee to transfer. You've got to pay, it's a pain in the neck. It's not easy. And that's the ugly side of it. The great side of it is all the benefits, but there is that little window of time that's crappy.
Well, and I guess I'm wondering, because my initial text message, and I appreciate the insight from both of you. That's super helpful, and I'm taking mental notes. The initial text is very impersonal, so it comes off completely like just a text from another agent. The only problem is on the bottom on KV Core, it says, EXP Realty, opt out, all this. I was like, and I know that that's in place to, keep the Can Spam Act, all that stuff. But I do always initially reach out and say, hey, picked up your card from, if it was Chick-fil-A or something. I'm a realtor too, just wanted you to have my information. Do you have any pocket listings at the moment? That's my gateway conversation, is if they have any pocket listings at the moment. Because we all
partner and collaborate. Yeah.
Right. So that has gotten me, because I was getting straight up unsubscribes. And then when I made the initial text directly from me through KV Core, but it was directly from me saying exactly where I picked their card up from, they would know, oh yeah, I did put my card in a Chick-fil-A some time ago. They know they're not talking to a bot. Right. So I've had a few conversations. Not so many. We don't, here in Georgia, we don't have so many meetups like I'm sure that Rick and Joe's Trujillo, he talks about, you guys do out in California at the EXP office. But I'm not opposed to looking up creating some strategies to get everybody together. That way they can get a vibe from me, and I can talk more about my business. It's very impersonal, so on and so forth, before they make that move. So
a mastermind is really powerful. Like
mastermind,
just holding a mastermind. And like when we do it, it's not just EXP people, right? We invite everybody so that it doesn't feel like it's a recruiting event, but it's definitely a recruiting event.
So I have a mentee who's really taken off with his recruiting. He's in Newberry Park down in Southern California, kind of by Ventura.
Okay.
And he does once, like the first Friday of the month, they meet at a local like bar, or not bar, but like restaurant, like cool restaurant, like a cool hangout spot. And he's got it coordinated where they get like a semi-private room where, you know, it doesn't cost him anything, but he reserves like a certain area that's a little more private, that's better for networking.
Okay.
And he just has it as like a mastermind there, and everybody's welcome. And yes, it is absolutely a recruiting tool. But it's something where people can meet up once a month. You can collaborate, check in on the market. And a lot of times he'll find out that, oh, there's a listing coming up on this street. I have a client for that. Like you said, the pocket listings. And it's a way to collaborate. And then, for example, if you're in EXP and there's another EXP agent there, there's no reason why you guys can't like not network together, but like coordinate. Like if you're out of town and you need a showing agent, because like for me, there's not very many people in my organization here in Fresno, and so I've got very few options of EXP agents that I have, that if I need my listing opened up for something, if I'm out of town, or if I need, you know, my buyer wants to see a house and I can't make it. Yeah, I don't have too many people that I've connected with that I trust, that are going to take care of this client and not steal it from me, because I do know people who I thought I trusted and they've stolen clients from me.
Yeah.
But like, you know, you build that camaraderie and that rapport with other agents. And one other thing I found is, I don't say I'm with EXP right off the top.
That's another thing. Yeah, that's a turn off for some people.
Yeah, because people have
abused it.
Hoard themselves, and hoard, WHORE, hoard themselves as being, you know, this recruiting thing has just gotten out of hand. Some people where it's a business to recruit. So I generally say, well, at my brokerage, this is what we do, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It takes that initial tension off and keeps them a little more open-minded to hear what it is that you want to share with them.
Yeah.
So I just refer to it as my brokerage.
I love that.
I like that, because, and that's why I'm gonna take you guys' advice and make the contact initially myself, text it directly from my number, because the moment they see EXP on the text,
shut down.
Right. Yeah, wall up, and they don't want to hear
people do that.
Yeah. So I think that I just have to make the calls like I do with my buyer and seller clients. I just don't want to. But
you have to just consider lead generation for agent attraction a lot like lead generation for listings, right? And schedule it into your calendar exactly the same way. You know, it when you think about it from that perspective, it's the same thing. You're building a relationship. Building a relationship. So, you know, we tell people the same thing. Rick has to put it on his like this week, you know, he was a little bit behind in that. And so like I went into his calendar and I like literally blocked. He got up the other day and he was like, you've been in my calendar. I see. I was like, block for lead generation. And it was like, because if we don't put it in there, it doesn't exist. But those calls are so important, and there's just a different feel from having a personal conversation than something else coming through. And then, like I said, afterwards, if you've tried and you haven't gotten them, or they said no, or whatever it was, then it's very easy to just do a follow-up campaign after the fact, because we might have something that hits them a little differently later. We've definitely had people that never responded to us previously or never followed back up with us previously, but then they show up to our events. And we're like, oh, okay, here you are.
Another tactic I've used, it was from Tristan Ahumada, who's part of EXP. But
I know that name.
Yeah, so you can do it for sales, for production, or you can do it for agent attraction. But he recommends to do a 10-10-10 on social media, which is 10 likes, 10 comments, and 10 direct messages. And I actually started doing it about 2 weeks ago. And one day I'm friends with a ton of agents from all across the US, from all different brokerages. And this one gentleman in particular I had met because I was showing one of his multi-unit properties. Had a couple of conversations about the properties because it was in Sketchville, California. Like it was literally homeless people across the street, and then there's the freeway.
Wow. Oh wow.
Okay. It was like crazy. And so we'd had a few conversations about the property a year ago.
Okay.
And I noticed he was with my previous broker that I was with. And I was like, hey, how's everything going at London? And he's like, oh, it's going. And he kind of like hesitated. And I was like, what does that mean? You know? And because I told him why I was asking, I was like, I used to work for London Properties. He's like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah. And so we just kind of got into some general conversation. Well, fast forward, he had mentioned there was some things he wasn't real crazy about because he's in more of the commercial division, and they really discourage people from leaving residential and doing commercial, and they don't really like you to do both. And so, but the way that they go about it is different than the way EXP goes about it. Anyway, so 2 weeks ago, I see on Facebook, he'd posted an office space for rent. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to send him a direct message. That's going to count for one of my direct messages, right? And I sent him a direct message and I was like, hey, are you expanding your business? And he was like, no, funny story. I'm listing this space for a friend. Cause I thought, oh my gosh, did he already go to EXP and maybe he got a large office space and was subletting it? That's what I was thinking. Because he had talked about leaving that other brokerage. And we had had some preliminary conversation, but it'd been a while since we'd reached out to one another.
Right.
So I said, wow. I said, do you have a minute to chat? And so we get on the phone and I said, I seriously thought that you were like moving out of the London Properties office. And he's like, no, that was my friend's place, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, how's business going? He goes, same old. And I said, well, I said, I'm kind of embarrassed because I haven't talked to you in a while. Right. And that was a line I heard from some other training. I'm kind of embarrassed.
Yep. It's a great line. It's a great script.
You're taking accountability for not reaching out sooner.
Yep.
Right,
so I said, I'm kind of embarrassed. I said, because I've been meaning to get in touch with you about your business. And I said, would you be open to exploring more about the business model for our commercial division? He was like, absolutely. And I was like, cool, because there's a call tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Coincidentally, it was the next morning. And so I said, let me get you a VIP registration for it. Do you mind sharing your email? And he gave me his email. No VIP, it's just registration. So I registered him for the call. Him and I were both on the call. He texted me right after. He's like, I've got some questions. Who can I speak to? And so I was like, let me find out. Because I told him, commercial's not my deal. It's a whole nother beast, as he knows. Right. Let me find out who the connections are. Residential, I got you covered. But commercial, I need to find out. So got him the information. He's like, okay, give me about 2 weeks. I've got a lot going on. So I'm going to follow up with him next week. Okay. But it was simply because I saw he had posted office space for rent. Yeah. And my first thought was, oh shoot, he's already gone to EXP.
You lost him. Debbie, you killed that conversation, by the way.
Yeah, that was good.
You really killed it because one, that script is amazing.
I've gotten a few. One of them is I'm so embarrassed. And another one I saw on Instagram, which was an ad for some using this guy's service to get 270 different.
Jeremy Lemer, or Jeremy something. I know. Yeah, I know the guy.
Yeah.
He's good. He's real good.
Yeah. This one I really liked. I tried to reach, this is for people who don't respond. I tried to reach you and I didn't hear back. Where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here? Yeah, that's gold.
Yeah. And then like when you're talking to people about the brokerage or even like in sales, this is just a fraction of what's available. Let's explore this more. How do you feel about that? Or one of the things that you can say in some of your introductory conversations is, I'm looking for great agents to collaborate with. Are you down for that?
Yeah.
I'm always up for new ideas. And you make it where it's not so agent attraction-y, where it's more like, I want to work with you. And then you find out if that's really someone that you want to have as part of your organization, because that's like letting them into the family.
Yeah.
And I want to ask a quick question, and I appreciate you both. I have to jump to another call in a few minutes here, but should I focus, or what are you all's thoughts on at least the low-hanging fruit as far as focusing on newly licensed agents? Yes, there's a lot more building up that you have to build, because it's hard to attract a Ryan Serhant, for example, to EXP, where I could catch the next Ryan Serhant that's fresh out of school, real estate school. What are you guys' thoughts on that? At least just to get comfortable with having the agent attraction conversation, because I've talked to agents I if I'm the listing agent and it's the buyer's agent, and I like how professional they were. I do agent attract the agents I do deals with, but I'm wondering if I can't get a Ryan Serhant, because someone else has already tried, I'm sure, from a numbers game, would I have better, I don't like to use the word luck, but a better effectiveness reaching out to just nothing but brand new agents? What are you guys' thoughts?
I have thought.
I know the risk and tell, and by that, I'm sure you're going to cover it.
Yep. So I have very strong thoughts about this in looking at, especially because I help Rick run his organization.
Yeah.
Frontline. Right. Frontline people, for the love of all that's holy, focus on producers.
Okay.
Unless you're going to put them on your team and you're going to guide them and mentor them and put them into production because you have enough lead flow to keep them busy. But I only put people on the team that are 100% full-time agents. I don't take any retirees. I don't take any more part-timers anymore. Okay. Nope. You got to be busy and you got to be ready to work. Okay. Right. Otherwise, if they're in your front line, you can take newbies, but don't put them in your front line. Put them on somewhere. Put them somewhere
under someone else.
Yeah, I mean, I spend all my time trying to get our front line producing, just because I need them to count. Right? You got to have qualifying agents in the front line, because otherwise it's just not a pretty picture. Okay. So if you're going to recruit newbies, either put them on your team and make sure they're in production and they're meeting minimum levels of requirement to produce to stay on the team, or put them elsewhere in your org.
Okay. Maybe under someone who's under me. That is a producer. Okay.
Yeah. And we've gotten into the habit of putting it in our second line on somebody who's a mentor. Second line and a certified mentor, and they're looking to earn income that way. Right.
And I am a certified mentor. So a lot of my mentees, I've been making good money from the mentees, more than my downline, even though we're all in the same group locally. But that's a good idea. It's a good strategy. I didn't think about that.
God, I mean, I was literally just before this call looking at the front line, and I was like, I am trying so hard to get these people to count. Right.
And see, I don't super understand that. I think Debbie was going to say something, but I don't super understand, because my frontline agents, at least it's 1 or 2 out of the 7, as I mentioned, total, that have closed. I got something from it. So is there some?
Yeah. So listen, in order to get all 7 levels to count, right now you need to have 30 people. It used to be 40. It's changed to 30. Okay. So you need 30 people to count to get all 7 levels. So for instance, Rick's got 3,000 people in his organization.
Oh, wow.
When it was 40 people, the second you dropped below all 40 people counting, 7th level dropped off. We stopped earning on the 7th level, and his 7th level was his biggest level. So it was a massive loss. So when you have people in your front line not producing because they aren't even closing 1 transaction every 6 months. Now we had 60 people and less than 40 were actually producing. You're then fighting to get people to produce 1 transaction every 6 months. It's awful. So the goal is, if you're going to build to all 7 levels, it means, at least right now with EXP, the change they made, 30 of those people have to close at least 1 transaction. So if you're hiring newbies that are not closing at least 1 transaction every 6 months, you're not earning on all 7 levels. You're fighting every month to at least qualify 30 people. So I've got 57 people, and I'm fighting tooth and nail every month to get 30 of those people to close 1 transaction every month. Close the transaction, people. I'm literally calling them, coaching them, guiding them. What does it got to do? Make some calls, people hold an open house. It's war. You want producers. You don't want to have to call them every month and be like, please go do something. Call somebody. Go stick them somewhere else.
Okay.
I was going to piggyback on the mentoring side of it.
Yeah.
Because when you like, for example, if you put someone under a mentor, and I'm sure you realize this as a mentor also, you're motivated to get them into contract because you want to get paid. So as a mentor, if you're putting people under someone who's a mentor under you, like say you have a first line person who's a mentor, maybe it's better to put a new agent under them because they're going to be doing that legwork with them. And they're also going to be producing because they're usually mentors have a little bit more oomph. And they're going to do those 2 or 3 deals a year. They're going to keep them as FLQAs that are going to keep you earning down your line, right? So maybe you got to look at it strategically. You need a good combination, and depending on your goals, a good combination of producers, people who are selling, because that's your rev share. And then you need a few people who are also willing to build their own organizations. And that's what brings you down. The downlines that bring you into that bigger paycheck category. So you want a good mix of producing agents, like she said, full-time agents that are doing this as their sole source of income. And you want some people that are also looking to build an organization, because as you build your organization, you're showing them the example. They're building their own organization, and that's helping you tremendously.
Gotcha.
Because they're going down 2 or 3 or 4 lines. And if they bring on a couple of business builders, is what we call them. If they bring on a couple of business builders, and you only need 1 or 2 business builders, depending on how large your organization is. But that gets you exponentially deeper in the org. So definitely, I agree with Selina. Definitely put those, if you're going to go, and you know how time consuming it can be mentoring a new agent, and do you have that time to invest in them? You know what I mean? So
when they have a deal, I do, but definitely when they don't have a deal.
How do they even get the deal?
Yeah, I'm their life coach for a few of the folks. I'm like, I'm not a personal life coach. That's not why we're here.
I know you need to drop, Marvin. I know you said you need to go, so I don't want to keep you.
No worries. No, this is super helpful. So I appreciate you both. You guys give me some strategy, which is what on how to do my systems. I think that one last thing I do want to run by you all is, I know that we can't, as part of our ICA, run agent attraction ads, but I'm sure there's more than one way to crack an egg. So I'm thinking a good loophole would essentially be running an ad about joining my team, now hiring full-time agents, which is spelling that out for my ideal avatar, full-time agents, as you said. And I have a team that, I do actually have a team. And so what are you all's thoughts about that as a strategy from an agent attraction standpoint?
I'm doing it right now. So I'm constantly running a Wise Hire ad. And so I will run it, and sometimes I will have them on the team, and sometimes they don't make it for the team cut. And if that's the case, I bring them into our organization. So it's that's, I tell them, and sometimes they're not willing to do the team split, or I won't take them in because they're not willing to do what we're doing with the team. But they decide to join our organization because they know that there's 2 different levels of support. The support they get with our EXP organization, but they don't want the team splits, and they don't want what I require to be on the team. So I had 3 people join the team and 2 people join the organization.
So you give them those options.
They get the option, and I show them what it looks like for both. So that ad is constantly running. And it's just always $179 a month for Wise Hire, and it goes out to 8 billion places. It DISC reports them because I'm trained in the DISC, and I like.
I like the DISC assessment. Yeah.
So it just automatically DISC them whenever they interview, whenever they apply. And so we have a great conversation, and I'm like, here are your options.
Okay.
What looks like it might be good for you. But
can you send me a copy of that ad?
Yeah. Here, Marvin, let me get, will you put in the chat what your email address is? So I've got it?
Yeah, because that would be great. I saw in a Tom Ferry interview recently that the guy, he's not an EXP agent, but he attracts agents. I think he might be with Real or someone else. But anyways, he gives formal offer letters, in a 9-to-5 gig. I was like, wow, that is genius, giving a formal offer.
Yeah, I run two. I have one for a buyer's agent, and which is more specific, and then I have one that just says salesperson. So two are always running.
Can you send both of those
yeah,
to
I'll
me?
send
That
both.
would be awesome. Yeah. Okay, I just dropped it in the chat here. Okay. And then any other you have a team agreement? Are you I'm a self-organized team. So I've had a tough time finding an agreement that I can send out because I don't get that support from EXP because I'm not an icon. Do you have a team agreement that you don't mind sharing that I could edit and tweak it for my team?
I have it for buyer's agents. Do you? Yeah. I'll send you both.
You guys rock. Okay, awesome. Well, I've gotten a lot of value from this conversation. I didn't know what was. I saw it on my calendar. I saw Empire Builders. I said, let me pop in and see what's going on. Yep. So, ladies, you have been amazing.
So Marvin, just there's another one that you might get a lot of value at. We're not doing it this Monday because it's a holiday, but there's the 2 Mondays later, we have the A's disease of building a real estate team. Rick and I do that one together often. And that is everything real estate related, team related. So it's like hiring agreements like you're talking about, splits, all compensation models, everything like that has to do with a real estate team.
So is that because I saw this call, I'm on the Let's Grow calendar. So is it on that Let's Grow movement calendar for Leo?
It should be. Leo tends to put all of our stuff on there, but I'll send you the link to all of our calls too, just so you have it.
You guys rock. I appreciate you. If I don't talk to you all again, thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
You betcha.
And tons of value. I might have to see if I can grab one of you for one of my group calls to talk to my squad because they need systems out the wazoo. So you both have a fantastic day and a great Labor Day as well.
You too. Bye, Marvin.
Always great. So stay connected to Selina. She's amazing.
I see. I didn't know, but I know now. So thank you, ladies. Y'all have a great day. All right. Bye-bye.
Debbie, got anything big planned for the weekend?
No,
me either. Just like this. That's what I'm doing. It's Rick's birthday on the 4th, so we're celebrating his birthday.
On the 7th.
Yeah. So, well, I say that, and Casey is sick as a dog right now. So I messaged him this morning. Oh, yep. Thank you.